let me back up. Let me sit back. You know what I mean? Get comfortable. Cause I feel like I've been sitting forward, trying to be, close to the camera, detail in my face, be able to see myself on the little mini monitor. Unnecessary. The camera's got it, okay? Xinyaface.com. So spell it out. Let me spell it one more time. XINYAFACEDOTCOM. You spell the whole thing out. Rise and love, family. It is I, Xinyaface.com, reporting to you live from this lovely little mini park in the neighborhood over here where I'm at. I just did another little recording that I thought was probably worthy of like a vlog or something like that, but I wanted to also see if I could record, put something together to reflect on and share a little bit about kind of the personal development project that I've been working on since early 2026. I won't say that this was like January 1st or New Year's resolution or anything like that. But so I can't remember when or where exactly I came up with the idea, but I have over the last few years had a couple times where I was kind of working on these personal development projects, right? Like trying to put together like a framework of something that I can do on a quarterly basis that was tiered, right? Something that started from like an annual project that is broken down by quarter, month, week, day, stuff like that. Almost like putting together a planner, but it was gonna be tied to like goal setting and setting like projects and stuff like that, just trying to get some order about the things that I'm spending my time on and what I'm focusing my energy on. And so I've had different phases and I approached this work, this project, this stuff in different ways. So if it wasn't, I don't think it was last year, it might've been 2 years ago at this point. But we'll say in the past, whenever I did set it up, whenever I found out about Notion is what put me onto this, right? And this is not sponsored by Notion, but shout out to Notion, I guess. I discovered Notion. I researched everything that I could about Notion so I could understand how it worked and some examples of ways that I could use it for what I wanted to use it for. And I wanted to do some research and kind of figure out what did I want to use it for, right? Do I just want it for project tracking? Do I just want it for note taking? Do I just want it for goal setting? Do I just want it for, right? Like, how am I going to use it? So I came up with, I found Tiago Forte. Tiago Silva is I think a UFC fighter. An MMA fighter. Shout out to him. But Tiago Forte and the para method, whatever, where you put everything, you organize everything into these buckets. And these buckets are projects, areas, resources, archive. So everything, every bit of data and information that you either review or look at, videos, articles, blogs, spreadsheets, right? Like any bit of data, right? Notes, links, whatever. All of this stuff will fit into some area, some kind of bucket that's set up in this para method, right? So my understanding of it and how I applied it was I first selected what areas were most important to my life, right? I picked out those buckets, things like being an entrepreneur, relationships, what's in there, finance, stuff like that, right? Then I would, as I develop projects, I would assign or align the project with one of the areas of my life, right? If I'm doing a project and it doesn't line up with some area of my life, it's kind of like, well, why are you doing this project? Is it just like a one-off thing, or are you spending time focusing in these areas that are not important for you. I feel like am I digressing too much because I'm going into too much detail about the Notion? I think I need to reel it back in. And it's funny because I don't have notes. It's off the top, baby. It's off the top. All right, let's get it back on the rails. So anyway, yes, I pulled together some resources about Notion. I figured out how to use it. I built a database, updated it, edited it, all that sort of stuff to get to a place where I could use it on a daily basis to track all these different things, my projects, areas, resources, and archive, right? And I got some additional kind of like database and information and stuff that fits within that system fairly well. So I started that and I was using it for task tracking, right? And I was like, okay, cool, this works. And it worked as long as I was willing to go and log in and open up the Notion app, either on my phone, tablet, computer, or device. As long as I looked at it every day and I utilized it for tracking and completing projects, great and small, tasks great and small, it worked. But the problem was, one of the things that I wanted to work on, or one of the things that was important for me to focus on bettering and improving myself, was like eliminating or reducing my time and reliance on these devices. I found myself going straight to the phone first thing in the morning because that was what I used to track all this stuff, right? At that point, I was not doing any like physical note taking and then incorporating that or integrating that into my tracking systems. I was fully relying on the digital systems, and I was like, I just felt so overloaded with it that once I was like, look, I want to reduce my interaction with it, it meant that it also impacted my ability to track stuff digitally, right? Like relying on and using those digital systems. So fast forward to start of January 2026, and I was inspired again, probably by some YouTube videos and by this idea. I don't think the idea came from a YouTube video. I think it came from me continuing to feel out my relationship to technology and wanting to take some steps to be like, hey, let me find out how I can still use it without feeling like I'm relying on it too much, that it's the driver of what I got going on as opposed to a tool, right, and a resource. So the other part of this whole journey with my finger is that for several weeks after I had my surgery, I couldn't actually write, or it was really difficult to really do anything because I just had access to these two fingers and my thumb. And these two, right, my ring finger and my pinky were kind of locked together and immobilized. And so just trying to write, holding a pen like this was an interesting experience. But then once I was able to do it, I was like, oh man, I missed writing so much. And it was hard to do. My handwriting was terrible at the time. But then as I was kind of going through my recovery process, the more I was able to more naturally hold the pen and write like I normally write, I was like, man, I really missed the action, the activity of writing things, physically writing things, whether it was in a physical journal, taking notes, sketching, whatever. And so the thing that I had been losing or that I had lost was physically writing stuff outside of like work or, like a note or a card or something like that, because that whole Notion system, I had even input and included my journaling, my self-reflection stuff as like a digital thing. Now, again, resource tool that's there and available, but I didn't want that to be the main way that I was doing my self-reflection, doing my note taking, doing this and that and other. So anyway, so at the start of the year, I'm thinking through this, and I think around the same time, I see some videos about journaling, but not so much just journaling, but like customizing journals and notebooks for the use of habit tracking, for project and goal tracking, for journaling, for note taking, for task management, habit tracking, all that sort of stuff. And so I'm seeing these videos and I'm like, oh wait, I've never gone through the process of Actually, I'm lying. When I say I've done this a couple times over the years, a couple years ago, might have been before I was doing the Notion thing or after, I'm not sure. I had done some customizing of a notebook to make it like an agenda, and I used it some, but I don't think I was customizing it for my use. I think I was copying off of something that I saw that I thought was cool and that I thought I could use and would use, but I did not. So as I'm seeing the videos at the start of this year, I started looking into how different ways that folks were customizing stuff and different ways that people were utilizing these physical notebooks and what kind of stuff they were including. And so I was like, where I failed with using Notion was over-reliance on the technology. And I was like, I don't want to lose the stuff that I was doing there, but I don't want the technology to be the driver or to be the vehicle where all of this stuff kind of lives, and how can I use them both together? And so I'm still trying to figure out integrating with the technology, but instead of it all being in Notion or in some app or in Google Drive or Google Workspace or whatever, some other technology or software, I basically transferred all my stuff over to physical notebook. And so where I started was that this was a project. This was like a whole framework. So I got ideas from watching people's different videos and going through their different journeys and working through different stuff for themselves. And I was inspired by a couple of them and said, okay, well, I wanna engage in this process of customizing a notebook. And I also wanna pull some ideas from these different creators and these different folks that I'm picking up ideas from, to say, I also want to go back to my idea of, hey, annual process, something that then breaks down into tiers where you're tracking and checking on your progress throughout the year, quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily, like it all kind of breaks down. And so I went through and I was using AI, man, don't hate me. I used it to help me process through this custom program based on the things that I thought were important. So I pulled some ideas from different people and got inspired here and there. And then I would kind of put together a little plan, use AI to give me some feedback or some reference points. And some of the stuff that it gave me back, I was like, no, I'm not digging this. This is not what I want, right? And I was able to kind of iterate and figure it out. So I just finally finished the full process not that long ago, probably like within the last week. I had done it kind of out of order. I did some of the deep reflection, values and identities work. And then I did some of the notebook customization work and was like, okay, well, I want to lock in how I'm going to use it on a daily basis and track some habits and stuff like that. But I haven't finished filtering down everything. And so I just finished filtering down everything and I'm pretty happy with what I came up with. I'm not going to show it right now. Maybe I'll do it on another video to share some different pieces of what I came up with. But I have even though we're partway through the quarter, right? Like almost to the end of February, that I figured out what quarterly goals were important for me this quarter. And I really narrowed it down. Like part of what I was struggling with when I was on Notion was I made everything into a project. I made all these things into goals, and my progress was getting lost in this. Everything was never ending. Like everything didn't have an end point. And so it didn't feel like I couldn't feel the progress, right? Or I couldn't track the progress in a way that felt like I was making progress, if that makes sense. And so I'm still iterating and still drilling down in what I'm creating for myself, but I'm pretty happy about it. The notebook that I did bring with me is my little travel notebook. And it's actually a blast from the past. I had to retrofit it with some new tape. But shout out to my first hall director, Nate Wood. This is the first little moleskin mini notebook that I ever got, and that's my travel one. So anytime that I'm out and about and I get an idea, or I'm feeling something strongly, or I want to take note of something, I'm trying to remember to put it in that notebook, then use whatever I have from my on the go to see if it needs to be integrated in some, like my main notebook and stuff like that. And so yeah, I'm pretty happy with what I came up with. Yeah, especially like my priorities and goals. I was thinking to myself, because it really forced me to focus on fewer things. I was already like, okay, well, this is gonna be a different priority for next quarter, right? Something that I couldn't necessarily fit in. And it has to do with, spoiler alert, it has to do with physical fitness and bodily movement and stuff like that. And so, yeah, I've had a goal for myself for like running a 5K, still hoping that this Achilles stuff and this other Achilles stuff and bone spur and whatever stuff, knee stuff, we got to figure it out, because I'm not going out like that. Okay. But lastly, before I hop off of here and I get on my way, one of the things that I wanted to share about is just progress on one of my goals. So one of my goals for the year 2026 was to read 26 books. I don't remember if I mentioned it on any other video, recording, anything like that. Excuse me. But last year, 2025, my goal was to read 25 books. I thought that I had made it, especially in tracking that information in Notion, but I found out that I had a duplicate of one of the books, and when I adjusted, because I thought I had just made it, I was at 24 out of 25. And so I was happy with myself, because I was like, hey, a couple years ago, I wasn't even reading one book a year, maybe one book a year, possibly, potentially. But to go from hardly reading ever anymore to then finding that love for reading again, really happy, right? And the 24, I can't remember if the 24 last year included any graphic novels. But so this year, not only have I read a bunch of graphic novels, the whole Walking Dead series, right? In terms of books, so either ebooks or physical books or audiobooks, I have finished 15, and it is February 25th. So my goal of reading 26, I'm gonna blow that out the water, and I'm not gonna slow down. I'm not gonna change the pace. I'm happy and proud of myself and wanna see how high I can get that number for this year. So I am so happy with myself for engaging again with my love of reading, and I don't want to give it up for nobody or nothing, right? And I'm finding ways to read, right? To listen to books, for audiobooks. I never did that years ago. That was not my thing, and now I've integrated that. And now I'm, physically reading books, and I feel like that's important. Reading books in all medias and in all forms and formats that I have them available, and I'm using a journal or notebook or some kind of note-taking system to process some of the stuff that I have come up for me when I'm reading, right? When I'm reading and listening to these books. So I started doing like little book report card notes, right? That I put in the back pocket of my notebook. So yeah, I'm super excited about just reading. Super excited about how that's connected to this personal development framework and getting my priorities in order and all that sort of stuff. And I really just wanted to share that with you. And so thank you for rocking with me. Hopefully you stay tuned to the end of the video. I don't have any extra super cool surprises or anything like that, but maybe I'll put the clip of me goofing off and messing up before I got this longer, slightly better take. Rise and love, family. It is I, xinyourface.com. What am I doing with my hands, bro? I'm doing a lot of all right. Rasengan, I don't even know. Naruto stuff, anime, Tanjiro, Goku, Vegeta? I don't know. Okay, so until next time, thank you for rocking with me. Stay tuned for more stuff. I got all kinds of stuff coming down the pipeline. And let me know if this inspires you to do any work on your own, or let me know how you doing in your own priorities and goals, the stuff that you're working on for yourself, whether it's New Year's resolutions or just long-term or short-term goals that you have for yourself, for your relationships, for your families, for your life. And let me know down in the comments. You can find me at xinyourface.com across social media platforms. Threads is seeming like the one that's pretty popping right now for me. But then you can check out my stuff at www.xinyourface.com, xinyaface.com, or wholelotofenterprises.com. And yeah, I think I said all the stuff. That's most of the stuff anyway. Till next time. Sa. Peace.